Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to another computer science lecture. So we were discussing section number 5, the internet and its uses, and in our previous lectures we have already discussed cyber security, well, half of cyber security. So like I mentioned, in today's lecture we are going to start the next part, or the second part of section number 5.3, that is cyber security. 5.3.1 was basically related to what are the different threats associated with the use of internet, and 5.3.2 tells you how to deal with those threats or prevent those threats. Preventive methods to secure data from cyber attack. The first one is using access levels. Access levels refers to the privileges a user has within a system or a network. In computer security, access levels are assigned to each user account. The higher the level, the greater the privileges. For example, a user with administrator rights or admin rights would have full control over the entire system, whereas a normal user would only have limited access. This can have following types: admin or administrator. He's basically the creator and the overall administrator, overseer or supervisor of the system, or the manager of the system. He or she has full access to the system. He or she allows the user to perform most operation on the system. An admin can add, remove and edit users, groups, posts, etc., domain names, manage passwords, configure services, etc. Standard sub access level is one which has limited access to the system. You can do a lot on the network or on the system, but you have less rights than the admin, means you cannot add or delete somebody from the system. Custom is an access level that is specifically designed by an administrator, so he or she can allow certain rights to a specific user, whereas guest or normal user has no access to the system or database, and he or she can simply view the data. He or she cannot make changes to it. These access levels are placed so that an untrained employee in the office or in the company, or a low level employee, cannot make any huge changes to the system of the company, either intentionally or unintentionally. Next preventive method is installing anti-malware software. These softwares are intended so that they protect you from malicious codes, either viruses, worms, cyber attacks, your Trojan horses, etc. There are two common types: antivirus softwares and anti-spywares. Antiviruses usually scan your computer to find and delete any potential viruses, whereas anti-spywares detect and deletes spyware or key logging softwares if they are found on your system. Nowadays, both of them are commonly packed into a single anti-malware bundle, which detects and deletes all types of viruses, worms, malwares, Trojan horses, etc., etc., and they also have a personal firewall built into it as well. Next we have authentication. Authentication is the process of verifying the data. It can be done in three ways. Either you put ID password on your data so that only somebody with the correct ID and password can log into the system or a website and access details. Once a user enters the ID and password, they are cross-checked against a secure database to verify. If they match up, they are allowed access, otherwise they are denied. Next type of authentication is known as a digital signature. It is an advanced form of authentication which uses asymmetric encryption. Sender encrypts the message into a string of gibberish using a hashing algorithm. A hashing algorithm is a one-way algorithm that takes a message and then converts it into an encrypted or coded form which cannot be reverse engineered. Means if you have the hash, you cannot apply any mathematical or logical operation onto it and convert it back into the original message. It is not uncodable, or decryptable. The generated hash is then encrypted using private key and is sent along the message. The receiver decrypts the hash and puts the message into a hashing algorithm. Once again, if the generated hash matches the one sent along the message, it is believed to be accurate. Here is a small diagram to explain it. Somebody sends their document through a hashing algorithm, and that hash is encrypted with a private key and sent onto the network. The user decrypts it using their public key and then puts the message into the same hashing algorithm. Once he has got generated a hash of his own, he or she compares both the hashes. If they both match, then the message is thought to be accurate. This process is known as digitally signing the document or a digital signature. The last but not the least, we have biometrics. It is an authentication technique relying upon unique characteristics of human body, such as voice recognition, face recognition, fingerprint scan, and retina scan. What happens is that a sample of the biometrics of a body, such as voice, retina picture, the picture of or the pattern of blood vessels in one's retina, or voice or face picture, or a fingerprint scan or picture is taken by the system, and when the person comes for gaining access to the system, then they simply provide a sample of their biometrics, such as they speak something in a speaker, or they put their face in front of a camera, or they put their eye in front of a camera, etc. A fresh picture or a sample of their biometrics is recorded, which is then compared to the pre-stored images or patterns in order to verify a person. If both matches, then the person is granted access, otherwise the access is denied. Fingerprint scans are the most common and easy method of verification used in most of the offices, etc., whereas retina scan can be tiring, as the recipient has to sit completely still for 10 to 15 seconds and look into a camera for the retina image to be taken. An example of a biometric login is displayed below. Like, you can either access through your ID and password, or you can simply put your finger onto a scanner, and the person and the system would identify you and grant you access to this website. We have another method that is known as online authentication. Banks and online shopping websites often have this type of method because every user do not have biometric device at their home. So online shopping websites and online banking websites, they cannot apply the physical means of authentication such as the biometrics or the digital signature to their online users. Instead, they go for online authentications. These security hurdles include unique code or password. For example, asking the user to enter random numbers from their PIN or account number or their password using text field or drop downs, or using a handheld device, customer cards and PIN to generate a unique code that is known as OTP, one-time password. But this method has been dropped. This was adopted by some banks in USA mostly. They used to issue a credit card like card to their user along with a small handheld device. What the user would do whenever they wanted to gain online banking facility, they would log on to their bank's website, provide their ID password, then they would put their provided card into their handheld device. The device would generate an OTP. In the next step, that generated OTP, the customer was supposed to enter it on the bank's website and in order to gain access to their dashboard. Nowadays, a most common type of online authentication is two-factor authentication or 2FA. What happens in that? When a user tries to log in, a unique code is generated and sent to them via SMS or via an email. Sometimes a different code is sent via SMS and a second one is sent through email, and user is required to enter both the codes, or if they are the same, then any one of them within a given time limit. This time limit is usually 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds. If they fail to do so, then they are not allowed access to their dashboard. This is an example of how the OTP or 2FA works. Another method is using authenticator application. An app is installed on user's cell phone which is synced with the secured website. The application keeps generating random codes after regular intervals of time, such as 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds, which are valid till the next one is generated. The user has to open the application on his phone and type in the codes on the login screen of the website through their computer or laptop in order to gain access. Here's a diagram to explain the process. Normally, in order to sync your authenticator app with the website, you have to scan a given QR code through this authenticator app on the secured website. It can be a banking website, it can be an email server such as Hotmail provides you this ability. You can download the Microsoft Authenticator app on your cell phone and you can then sync it with your Hotmail in order to make your Hotmail ID more secure. Another preventive method is to turn on the automatic software updates on your anti-malware bundle and your operating system, so that your software and your operating system is always up to date against security threats. Checking the spelling and tone of emails and URLs is another method in order to make sure that it is from a legitimate source and not a phishing email. This can prevent a victim from typo spotting, in which company names with slight spelling variations are used to fool a victim, such as instead of yahoo.com you get a mail from yahoo.com. Another method is to install a firewall. A firewall is a software or hardware that sits between the user's computer and the network, and its primary function is to filter the information or the traffic going in and out of the network. Firewalls carry out the following tasks. They examine network traffic. They check whether data moving in and out of a network meets a given criteria or not. If any given packet does not meet the criteria, it is instantly blocked. Logging all network traffic, and you can also set rules in order to block access to unwanted IP addresses or websites. They prevent viruses or hacking attacks, and they warn the user if a software on user system is trying to access external data source, for example automatic software updates or any other website on the internet. This is a sample block diagram of how a firewall works. Next, we have a proxy server. A proxy server acts as a middleman between the user and web server and performs the following tasks. It allows the internet traffic to be filtered so they can block access to certain websites. They speed up access to information on a website by storing the web pages you mostly visit in their cache. They hide a user's IP address, and they act as a firewall, means they provide all the functions of a standard firewall. Privacy settings are the part of a social networking website or an internet browser or an app that allows you to control who sees information about you over the internet. The most common application of these settings are on your WhatsApp or on your Facebook ID or Instagram ID, social media IDs, where you can decide or where you can adjust who sees your profile picture, who sees your posts, and who sees your status, cover picture, etc. This allows a person to control what information is shared on these platforms. Last but not the least, we have security protocols which you can apply in order to prevent cyber attacks, and the one and only protocol that's left in your syllabus currently is known as SSL or Secure Socket Layer. It is a protocol which allows secure data transmission to take place between a browser and a web server. A protocol is basically a set of rules which are decided between two machines or two devices before a communication begins. The browser requests communication with the web server, which sends its copy of SSL certificate. If the browser can authenticate the certificate, it allows communication to take place, otherwise the communication is blocked. Sites secured by SSL have a URL starting with HTTPS instead of HTTP. Plus, there is a green lock symbol alongside the address bar on your browser. If you do not have SSL encryption on your website, then that means a hacker can easily intercept or copy or whatever data you're sending to the web server. Whereas if it is protected by an SSL certificate, that means a hacker would not be able to gain your confidential data. An SSL certificate is a digital certificate that authenticates a website's identity and enables an encrypted connection. It is basically and it is always issued by a third party. That's it for section number 5. I hope you have understood everything. Please do leave your comments below and feel free to ask me if you have any problems. I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz.